Well, what I'm doing at the moment is assembling this engine. I've got the crankshaft in, as you can see. It's quite free turning there. Obviously this isn't tightened up yet. There you can see the gap in the crankcase. I've got all these nuts and bolts to put on. The idea is put the pistons on. I have to check that the pistons actually fit these bores. I haven't checked that yet, but if they do, and then lower the bores and everything on, and just try and turn the engine just to make sure that there's no tight spots. I'm sure there won't be, but I don't want to proceed any further until I've checked that out. Well, just check the pistons in the bore, and sure enough they don't fit. They go in at the head, which normally just below or just above the top ring there's slightly larger, smaller diameter piston, usually about 1/10 smaller, and that fits in, but the skirt doesn't, which that's usually a bit bigger. So I'm going to have to rebore the cylinder, both of them, so that'll be an interesting project. And also I've got to machine a groove all the way around this, rather, as you can see, for an oil seal. I'll do that in the near future. So in the meantime we'll have to think about rebores. What I'm doing tonight is machining the bore, both bores. The liners were inserted, but the liners are undersized compared to the piston. I just did an expansion check. It surprised me because I found that the cylinders expanded almost the same as the pistons did. So it makes there's no guesswork in the sizes. They both follow the same sort of expansion curve. So basically I give it a half thou clearance on the piston, and then I'll put the hone in and take another thou or half a thou to a thou just to clean up the bore. So that should be it should be pretty good, I think. We'll see what the finish is like when this comes out. I went down at a fast feed rate. I'm coming back at quite a slow feed rate and slow RPM just to smooth out and take any spring out of the bar. Okay, what you're seeing here is my trial program for running a cylinder hone in here. I've taken out the boring head, and basically I want to hone these cylinders so that the piston fits. I've got the hone already. I reckon that speed there will give me a nice diamond pattern. I've never really done much of my own G-coding, but this is just an adaptation of the drilling cycle or the boring cycle that I was using for this. Just the first time I've used a repeat cycle, and I've put 1,000 repeats on there, so that should enable me to just hone those cylinders fairly rapidly. I don't like the idea of honing on here. When I do, I'll take all of this off here. I'm going to mount everything, put cloth underneath everything so that any lubricant is absorbed by the cloth and not taken into the bedways. I'll hoover this, I'll vacuum clean all of this down before I start. It's not the sort of operation you really want to carry out on here, but I haven't got a lapping machine or anything like that, so this is the next best alternative. But I'm well pleased with the program. It only took me a few minutes to adapt using the L for command for repeat cycles on the line of code that tells the boring head to make one pass. Just stuck it on the end, L1000, and it worked fine. And obviously I've got to alter the depths and so on to suit the cylinder hone itself, but it looks as though it's going to be work, and that's all set by. This evening I will set to and really make it work well. I just thought I'd show you the line of G-code that is producing this movement for the cylinder hone. Basically it's the one I use for the boring of the cylinders, but on the end you'll notice that I've got L1500, and that L just gets it to repeat the cycle from going from Z0 to minus 0.78 in feed rate of 150 inches per minute. So that shows you what it is very simple line of coding. Well, here we are. You can see I'm honing this cylinder. I developed a program from the drilling program or the boring program that I had with the one pass in and out. This has got 1,000 passes. It just added an L in the command, L1000, and that makes it recycle that same line of code 1,000 times. I'll give it a while and then we'll shut off and see what it looks like. I think that's looking pretty good as far as I'm concerned anyway. We'll see what it looks like after 1,000 revolutions or 1,000. Just while we're honing the cylinder here, a word of caution about using this type of program. It mustn't be forgotten that at the start the machine will come from the G30 position and try to come down to depth, the safe depth above the work. Now in this case this thing is too long to enable me to do that. As you can see, we're working pretty close to the limit switches there, and apart from anything else, the stones collapse on themselves if you try to push that through the top. You have to collapse the horn itself by hand. The way I got around this was to collapse the horn, push it all the way down to the tabletop in the bore with the drill chuck in the spindle, and then bring the machine, start the machine up, bring my max valve right down and let it come across to the 0 position and down to height, and then reducing the max valve to 0 and also the RPM to 0, and connect up the horn to the chuck. Now the end of the program just brings it back to the Z safe height, which is 0.08 above the 0 mark, which I set with the stones about as high up as you see them there. It's just a very, very slight increase in height above what you see now. So everything should be safe when it does stop. So we'll see what it's like on the first run. I suspect it'll not be anywhere near ready. It's very, very fine horn, this thing. It took me ages to do the last set of liners with it. I've got a very coarse horn there, but I'm reluctant to use it. I will if I need to, but it's not quite as good as this one because it doesn't collapse as nicely as this one does, and I'm worried that the stones are actually bound up and are pushing they're not actually running parallel in the bore. Anyway, I'm not going to use it, put it that way, unless I have to. Well, that's the first bore done. It's a little bit tight still. Lateral play that way, but there's none fore and aft, which is the way the piston is made. There's some relief on this either side, which is standard practice. A lot of this brightness here is from where it's been tried in bores that are too tight. For instance, that one there, it won't go in there. Well, actually it just about, it kind of gets stuck in that bore. That bore still hasn't been done. But this bore's quite good. I mean, it just drops in. Want to drop in. It's fine. I'm happy enough to just use this at the moment the way it is. I might run the horn through there for another 20 minutes tomorrow. Maybe more time, just to ease it that tiny bit. In terms of finish, it's beautiful and smooth. This horn is really, it's a very fine grit, and it leaves such a fine finish that I sometimes wonder if I shouldn't replace it with something a little more aggressive, but at the same time, as I say, it gives such a nice finish. It seems a shame to use it for anything other than the best of work. So